This week on Sailing Sweet Ruka, the waves get big and come from every direction as we round the dreaded Gulfo de Penas, which some say can be worse than the treacherous Cape Horn. We experience some challenging traffic. So the problem is this guy below us now, but I think we should be okay. Deal with high loads.
See what broke?
And I face an old frustration. And I've got some really bad news. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but Gulfo de Penas, known as the Gulf of Sorrows for what one of our viewers tells us is because of the high number of widows it creates. The channels no longer connect at this point, and therefore ships must brave the open water. And while you may think it is safer with fewer landmarks to hit, the many Pacific Ocean storms are no longer weakened by the tall Andes Mountains. The various strong currents that meet in this location make for challenging waves against swell that can give even the strongest navigators and ships an insurmountable test. Not even large ships navigate these waters in poor weather. Whether it will be strong southern ocean storms or light northwest wind, very few conditions make for a comfortable or safe passage around this cape. The shallow waters that make irregular waves along with storm-like conditions have caused many shipwrecks, pushing sailors up against the rocky shores. The famous wreck of the British warship, the HMS Wager, failed to safely navigate around the southeast end of the Gulf after an attempted tack left them awash on the lee shore on what would later be called Wager Island, back in 1741. As we'd prefer not to become infamous for the same reason, it is imperative that we keep our distance from the shore and take extra care in our navigation. After many weeks navigating tight channels and fjords, this would be a challenge possibly even more difficult than Cape Horn.
Well, it's about 1:30 in the morning. We are just entering the Gulfo de Penas. The weather forecasts look to be some pretty strong winds from behind us, as well as big waves. Basically about 4-meter waves and 20 knots of wind. The wind looks like it's calming a little bit. Right now we're motoring just to kind of get ourselves out there and not deal with any dangers during the night, and also to charge the batteries up and keep the heat on because it's cold. So there's a couple of shoals that we need to get around, and then once we're around those, I think we're going to be setting sails. The mainsail is up right now. It's just on its kind of tagged on its third reef, ready to go higher. It's just enough sail to balance the boat, without enough if we get a really big strong puff or some unexpected weather condition coming off of these mountains during the night. It's really easy to deal with and doesn't overpower us, so it's a good kind of safe position for it. We expect a really nice downwind sail. Should be about 24 hours before we have to poke our way back into the fjords above the Gulf. Okay, that's the update for the evening. Let's go sailing.
The predict wind forecast of the wind and waves was super vital to our safety and navigational planning as previously explained. At least when day broke, we could see the actual waves instead of just feel them. Land lay to our starboard side, but keeping a good distance is important as the strong currents can easily sweep us into the dangers. Well guys, we are sailing out here in the Pacific Ocean in Gulfo de Penas, and I've got some really bad news. I'm super duper seasick. And it's probably some of the worst I've felt, some of the worst seas I've ever experienced out here. Just the swell against the waves, against the wind, and little squalls all around. Not too much wind in them, maybe 25 knots, some rain, but the sun is out for now and hopefully it will stay out for the rest of the day. It's really frustrating. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but these waves and swell are terrible. All right, bye for now, and sorry for the lack of filming. The ominous squalls on the horizon gave me entertainment above the waves while Albatross circled the boat, looking for snacks. Being out on deck in big waves, I clipped in before turning off the autopilot and taking the wheel. Even the gimbaled GoPro seemed to be caught off guard from the waves from time to time. True wind angle ranged from 155 to 165 as I made sure not to accidentally jibe us. Going up the waves came in around 6 or 7 knots, while surfing down them gave us 9 to 11 knots of boat speed at times, creating a roller coaster I did not want to be on. Sometimes standing behind the wheel and engaging in an activity such as driving helps with the seasickness. Winds were blowing 20 to 25 knots and giving us a good broad reach. The problem was, the waves were going one direction, the swell going another, and the wind yet another. Nothing agreed, and it turned out it didn't agree with me either. Staying out in the cold seemed to be the best option for me, and luckily, the rain was keeping away for the most part. The preventer kept the mainsail from flying across the cockpit, while the creaking of the companionway echoed behind the sound of the waves. Aside from the sun, the conditions were reminiscent of our rounding of the challenging Cape Horn.
I guess I'll jibe the old mainsail. Alright, first I gotta do the preventer.
Curtis trims in the mainsail during the jibe so that the momentum of the swing is less, making it safer to complete the jibe. Once the battens are popped and on the other board, he eases it back out. In this case, we've disregarded the jib as we are fairly deep and are running at almost wing and wing anyway. One small mistake could mean disaster, and that is why we've chosen to jibe in this manner. Finally, Curtis reattaches the preventer on the other side.
Yeah, I could try and I could pull out the jib. I feel like it puts a lot of wear and tear on the pole and the mast though, in these big waves.
Yeah, that's the problem, eh?
Yeah, I'll stay like this for right now. I'm gonna take this reef out, okay?
Okay.
Give us some more sail area. Some good Southern Ocean waves right here.
Don't like it. I can puke it anymore.
here. Wow. See what broke? Fuck, jammer broke. Wow. Well, that's a new one. Well, I guess we exceeded his load, huh? Swirl the jib.
Swirl the jib?
Yeah. Override. So currents will push you onto the shore, and if we have any problems, right, it's better to be a little bit offshore so we have a little bit of room to go, right?
Yeah.
Also, your waves are going to get steeper and more confused the closer to the shore that you get, because they bounce back. You know, they go up. Yep. But you can probably fire up the Starlink in here real quick. Alright, this is a good wave to jive on right here, I think. So, our preventer. Remember to jive with speed, wait for this wave, let this guy get on him. 2, 1, start your jive.
Not only were we using a preventer, but also a boom brake, which is a nice safety feature as well. But sometimes it doesn't run smoothly, leaving the sail in a stuck position. However, with a little driving up to relieve the pressure, we were able to free it so the sail could ease out the rest of the way.
about all we can do once we put up a spinnaker, but I feel like I'm too tired for the spinnaker.
You can't really do much.
Off the boat speed. Oh. What are we sogging?
5.3.
Got some current. Good job, babe.
Just because the conditions are a bit wild doesn't mean the dog doesn't need to use the restroom. She usually prefers to go up to the bow, but in these conditions the most stable place is by the mast. With the jib put away, we both went on deck to share in passing off of the dog. In these more extreme conditions, we find it safer to do so. That's one brave dog.
Buque de navega con posición de 21 personas, nacionalidad rusa y filipina, y carga líquida 39.000 toneladas.
Hola, buque que llama Sweet Ruka, Valero Sweet Ruka acá, 16.
Este es Seaways Lookout, vamos a 1-0, cambio.
10.
Sweet Ruka, este es Seaways Lookout, cambio.
Hola, Sweet Ruka acá, adelante.
Muy buenas tardes, me encuentro al norte de su posición.
It's gonna go north of our position.
Para consultar si va a continuar con rumbo norte o sigue abriéndose hacia el oeste, campeón.
Are we gonna go east or west?
We will try and go. If we do anything, we will
Okay.
go to the east.
Okay,
But we will direct into the east.
okay. Si usted vaya a norte de nuestra posición, intentamos ir al este.
Perfecto, pues muchas gracias. Yo estoy a 7 millas al norte de su posición con rumbo sur y la intención es pasar rojo, campeón.
Okay, gracias, Sweet Ruka en 16.
Muchas gracias, 1-6.
So the problem is this guy
Yeah.
below us now, but I think we should be okay.
Well, they all have to avoid us.
Yeah.
So what's your CPA with him? 400 feet. So we can try and come down some.
Yeah, and we can jibe.
We may have to.
Yeah.
At some point we gotta jibe anyway, so I just didn't
we
really
might
want
have to jibe and then jibe again to.
I know.
I don't know.
I really don't want to do another maneuver though.
Go behind us is gonna cross really close to it. Says 400 feet.
Ay, caramba.
The ocean's not big enough for all of us.
As we approached the ships, it became even more evident the size of the waves, as the large ships would disappear and reappear with the rise and fall of our bow through the waves. With all that had transpired during the last 24 hours, we were rewarded with something we very seldom get to see while in the fjords, and that is, of course, the open ocean sunset. We had made the turn around the cape and back towards the fjords as night settled, relying on the charts and light beacons and keeping a lookout for more ships. The wind had died as expected, but we saved a lot of fuel sailing in what is likely considered some of the better conditions for Gulfo de Penas. An uncharted channel with rocks that uncover at low tide was the choice we took at dawn to find some safe haven. There were a few anchorages closer to the opened water and the Gulf, but it was still dark and we prefer to anchor when there is light. There weren't so many options for anchorages by this time, but our navigation guide said that this spot was well protected. We were also expecting our friends Tom and Hannah to arrive in their catamaran. This place offered enough space for 2 boats. As they left behind us, they would likely have less wind, but the waves and swell would still present their dangers, and so we anxiously awaited their arrival. We 4-point tied to shore and dropped the anchor for extra security. What would the northern end of the fjords of Patagonia bring us next?
Hey guys, we are here in uncharted waters. This little coletta back here is in the book, so people have stayed here before, and clearly there have been fishermen, as there are fishermen's ropes in multiple little spots back here in this little bay. But this channel, which I believe is called Canal Abandonado, like they abandoned it, so they must have chose not to name it. Anyways, we made it back here. It seems like it's nice and safe and secure, and there's no wind today, so we motored through the night with our no wind and made it safely. It was lots of big waves, swell against waves, against wind, and I got a little seasick, but we made it, and it's time to explore a little bit and get some rest. Welcome to Uncharted Waters.
Join us next time as we continue north through the challenging fjords of Patagonia. If you learned something new or enjoyed following our journey, please like and subscribe, as it's the easiest way to support what we do. A special thank you to our patrons whose names you can see scrolling on the screen. We can't share these videos without you. Don't forget to click subscribe and come along for the ride. See you next time!